Hello, Eve.
Hello, Christopher.
Today I would like to talk about Bitcoin.
Sounds good. Let's talk about it.
So, what exactly is Bitcoin and why was it created?
Bitcoin is a digital currency that works without a central authority. It was created in 2009 to let people send money directly to each other without needing banks.
And who created it?
It was created by someone using the name Satoshi Nakamoto, but their real identity is unknown.
So, no one really knows who created it besides that name?
Exactly. No one knows the real person or group behind that name.
So, you said Bitcoin is like a digital currency. How does it differ from traditional currencies like the US dollar?
Bitcoin isn't controlled by any government or central bank, and it exists only online. It relies on a network of computers that verify transactions rather than a central authority.
So, I've heard of blockchain technology. How does that support Bitcoin?
The blockchain is like a public ledger. It records all Bitcoin transactions and it's shared across many computers. This makes it secure and transparent because no single entity controls it.
And how is new Bitcoins created?
New Bitcoins are created through a process called mining, where computers solve complex math problems to add transactions to the blockchain, and the reward for that work is new Bitcoin.
So, I mean, we already have the US dollar. Why do we need digital currency?
Digital currency offers an alternative that can be faster, cheaper for some transactions, and accessible to anyone with internet without needing banks or borders.
So, and how many Bitcoins are there? Like, can they just keep mining more and more?
There's a limit of 21 million Bitcoins that can ever exist, and that limit is built into the system, so they can't keep making them forever.
Okay, so um 21 million. So why is Bitcoin at 100,000?
Bitcoin has gone above $125,000 recently, mainly because more big institutions are getting involved. There are now Bitcoin ETFs, and some people are worried about economic uncertainty.
How can there be a Bitcoin ETF? Like, doesn't that create more Bitcoin?
A Bitcoin ETF doesn't create new Bitcoin. It's a fund that holds Bitcoin and lets people buy shares of it, so investors can get exposure to Bitcoin without buying it directly.
Okay, so if there's a limit of 21 million and Bitcoin became, say, the regular currency, then we would no longer have inflation. In fact, if Bitcoin is limited, the price would go up. That means we would have deflation, right?
Yes, if Bitcoin was the main currency, its limited supply could cause deflation as it becomes more valuable over time because there would be fewer units relative to economic growth.
So I'm a little confused. So if Bitcoin is 100,000, let's say Bitcoin, like, will Bitcoin ever replace fiat currency?
It's possible, but not certain. Some see Bitcoin as more of a digital gold, a store of value rather than something replacing everyday money. It could coexist with fiat or be used for certain things, but replacing it entirely would face many challenges.
When you say coexist with fiat, so like if I was to go to the store and buy groceries, I could pay with Bitcoin eventually.
Yes, some stores already allow that, and more could in the future. You just have a way to pay with Bitcoin alongside regular money.
How would you pay with Bitcoin?
You'd typically use a phone app that has your Bitcoin wallet, and you'd scan a code or send the payment directly to the store's address.
What is a Bitcoin wallet?
A Bitcoin wallet is a tool that stores your private keys, which are needed to access and manage your Bitcoin, and it lets you send and receive it. It can be an app, a device, or even paper.
When you say manage your storage keys, that means if you enter your key, you could send any amount of Bitcoin you wanted.
Yes, exactly. With your private key, you can authorize sending any amount of Bitcoin that you have in your wallet to someone else.
And that someone else that you're sending it to their Bitcoin wallet.
Yes, exactly. You'd be sending it to their wallet address, and then they can access it on their side. Yep.
Oh, so the wallet is kind of like a bank, I guess, in a way. So, like, if I was to pay with my debit card, it's taking the money out of my bank and adding it to their bank. And if I was to pay with Bitcoin, it's taking it out of my Bitcoin wallet and added it to their Bitcoin wallet.
Yes, that's a good comparison. The wallet acts like your own personal bank, and when you send Bitcoin, it moves from your wallet to theirs, similar to that idea.
Okay, so I mean, I assume since this is limited, like with the government and the central bank, they can create more dollars, but no one can create more Bitcoin once it's reached its limit.
That's correct. The supply of Bitcoin is capped, and once all 21 million are mined, no more can be created, unlike the dollar.
So, um, okay, so like if let's say I worked 40 hours and I get paid 400 fiat currency, $400, and then the central bank creates more, that means that 40 hours I worked, since the bank has created more dollars, it makes dollars less valuable, therefore making the time that I worked less valuable, therefore stealing my time.
Yes, that's the basic idea. Creating more dollars can lead to inflation, making your dollars worth less, so the time you worked for them loses value.
And life is made of time, so technically they're stealing our life.
Yes, you could see it that way, because the value of your time and effort is reduced when the money loses purchasing power.
Okay, so Bitcoin solves that because, I mean, technically there would never be inflation with Bitcoin. Let's just say Bitcoin was the only currency. Inflation wouldn't exist, correct?
Yes, that's correct. With a fixed supply like Bitcoin, you wouldn't have inflation from creating more units, so it would prevent that kind of value loss.
Okay, so I'm confused on this. Let's say that a car costs 10,000 Bitcoin. Doesn't the value of Bitcoin go up?
Yes, if the value of Bitcoin rises, that same car would cost fewer Bitcoin over time. So the price in Bitcoin could drop, making Bitcoin more valuable.
But I mean, isn't, okay, so what about the volatility of Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is known for being volatile, so its value can go up and down a lot. That's one challenge if it were used as everyday currency, because prices could change quickly.
Okay, so okay, so that is that why you're saying it's more looked at as a store of value?
Yes, exactly. Because of that volatility, many treat it more like digital gold, something to hold as a long term investment rather than spend daily.
But I mean, if you're just holding it, and I mean, Bitcoin, if you're using it as a store of value, it's not actually being used, is it?
That's right. If it's just held as a store of value, it's not circulating much, so it's not really functioning as everyday money, more like an asset.
Is that the goal though of Bitcoin, to be used as money?
Originally, yes. The goal was for it to be used as money, for direct transactions without banks, but over time, many see it more as a way to store value, even if that wasn't the only intention.
Okay, so I guess I'm kind of confused. Like, why would someone invest in Bitcoin?
People invest in it because they believe it will grow in value over time due to its limited supply and increasing adoption.
When you say increasing adoption, in what?
Adoption means more people and companies are using it, accepting it, or investing in it, which can drive demand and value.
Yeah, but more companies accepting it. Isn't that being used like money?
Yes, when companies accept it, it is being used like money. That's part of adoption, but it can still also be held as an investment at the same time.
So, which companies have adopted Bitcoin where you could actually purchase something?
Big companies that accept Bitcoin include Microsoft for Xbox credits, Overstock.com for many products, Home Depot in stores, Whole Foods using an app, AMC theaters for tickets, and also Starbucks, Newegg, and Shopify.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Okay, so let's say AMC, you can purchase tickets with Bitcoin. How much would a ticket cost in Bitcoin?
The ticket price would depend on the Bitcoin value at that time. The ticket cost is set in dollars, and when you pay, it converts to the equivalent amount of Bitcoin at that moment.
So you could literally be standing there for 5 minutes and your ticket can go down by $5?
Yes, exactly. Because Bitcoin can change quickly, the amount you'd pay in Bitcoin could shift even in that short time.
Okay, so what about Foods? Like if you're going in to buy $30 worth of groceries, it would basically take that 125,000, divide it down to where it equals 30, and that's how much Bitcoin you would pay?
Yes, that's correct. The system would calculate how much Bitcoin equals $30 at that moment, and that's the amount you pay from your wallet.
That seems totally confusing. I mean, you could go, I mean, okay, what is 125,000 divided by 30? Like, how much Bitcoin would that be?
It would be about 0.00024 Bitcoin.
Okay, so if it caught your groceries cost you 0.0024 Bitcoin, and let's say you're standing in line and Bitcoin drops to 120,000, how much Bitcoin are you paying then?
If Bitcoin drops to 120,000, you would then pay about 0.0025 Bitcoin.
Oh, is that value the same? Like it's still 30 regardless? Uh, okay, so it's still $30. You're just basing it off of what Bitcoin is worth.
Yes, exactly. The $30 stays the same. The amount of Bitcoin you pay just changes based on its current value.
And how does it do that? Like because you're using an app?
Yes, exactly. The app calculates it in real time, so you pay the right amount of Bitcoin for the $30.
So really a $5,000 drop in Bitcoin is only 0.00001.
Yes, that's right. A $5,000 drop is a small fraction in Bitcoin terms, so it only changes the amount slightly.
But are you technically paying more than $30 if it drops by 5,000?
No, you're still paying exactly $30 worth. The amount of Bitcoin just adjusts, but the dollar value stays $30.
So again, I know, so is eventually as more companies start taking Bitcoin, would it ever take over the fiat dollar?
It could grow in use, but fully taking over the dollar is uncertain because there are challenges like volatility and regulations. It might coexist with fiat instead of fully replacing it.
Okay, so is there like a Bitcoin changed into fiat?
Yes, there are exchanges where you can trade Bitcoin for dollars or other currencies and withdraw it as fiat if you want.
I guess it's kind of the same as a ETF, right? I mean, if you bought, say, McDonald's for $300 and it dropped to 295, and you bought Bitcoin for $300 and it dropped to 295. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same as a ETF, right? I mean, I know it's not the same, but as far as like mathematical wise.
Yes, mathematically it's similar. If the value changes, the dollar amount you invested can go up or down, whether it's Bitcoin or a stock.
So why are these billionaires like so interested in Bitcoin? I mean, a lot of this talk about Bitcoin is because of that, them not being able to change it. But if it's not really a currency,
They like it because it's scarce and can't be controlled by any government. Even if it's not used as currency, they see it as a hedge or a store of value that could keep growing as more people adopt it.
so once it's fully adopted, if that's even possible, then it's no longer a store of value.
It can still be a store of value even if it's widely used because its scarcity wouldn't change. People could still hold it as an asset while others use it for transactions.
So, I mean, can you really lose by investing in Bitcoin?
Yes. You can lose if the value drops and you sell it for less than you bought it. Like any investment, there's risk.
I mean, like, if billionaires are already in there and you wasn't really looking at it, I guess if you're not really looking at it as, you're going to sell it, then you couldn't really lose, could you?
It's unlikely, but it's possible. If people stop believing in it or something better replaces it, its value could drop a lot, even to zero.
Okay, and as far as like your your Bitcoin or crypto wallet, can that be hacked?
Yes, if your wallet isn't secure, it can be hacked, especially online wallets. That's why strong security is important.
I guess I'm still confused why Bitcoin. So basically, it's something that exists that has it has a certain amount, a max amount, and no one can control it, so it's valuable.
Yes, exactly. It's fixed supply, and the fact that no one can control it is why many see it as valuable.
And in the future, what are there going to be more companies adopting it? Like, would it become, say, like Walmart, Amazon? Would they accept it in the future?
Amazon doesn't accept Bitcoin at this time, but Walmart's planning to add cryptocurrency trading in its One Pay app later this year.
Walmart, so you'll be able to pay for stuff with Bitcoin in Walmart?
One Pay app is planning to let users buy, sell, and hold Bitcoin by the end of this year, but it hasn't said yet if you'll be able to pay directly in stores with it.
So when you say buy, sell, it's more like a exchange and not you can't use it to purchase product.
Exactly. It's more like an exchange within the app. So you can trade Bitcoin, but they haven't announced using it to buy products in stores yet.
And if you're buying and selling that within the Walmart app, is that an actual wallet?
Yes, it functions like a wallet because you can hold your Bitcoin there, but it's a custodial one, meaning Walmart controls it for you.
Why would anybody want to do that?
Some people might prefer the convenience, even if they don't have full control, like security.
Okay. I don't know. I think I'm still confused on the whole thing. I don't see why billions billionaires will be investing in this and why like the youth of them are starting to understand it. I mean, we're saying that it's basically we control it, so it's not really being controlled by the government, but yet fiat still exists and you need fiat to buy Bitcoin. I don't.
Yes, that's the idea. Even if fiat loses value from inflation, people invest in it as a way to protect against that, even though you still need fiat to buy it initially.
I mean, I guess I could see it like if you bought Bitcoin for $20 and that fiat had inflation or they created more by the central government, your $20 is still worth 20 inside Bitcoin. Oh, I see now. Because that way, if you have $20 and say the central government printed more money, that $20 is now worth $15. Your Bitcoin, if you traded your Bitcoin in, it could still be worth $20.
Yes, exactly.
That's what it's meant by store of value.
Yes, that's exactly what people mean by a store of value.
And that's what it means like when they say you're hedging.
Yes, exactly. Hedging means you're protecting yourself against inflation or other risks.
And then the more people that adopt this, the more people that tries to escape inflation, escape government control are basic. It's kind of like if the government was going around rounding everybody up, it's kind of like you're hiding in a bunker.
Yes, that's a good way to think of it. It's like a financial shelter that people use to protect themselves from those risks.
Oh, I see now. And I mean, Bitcoin could lose value if enough people was not using that as a way to hedge or to combat inflation.
Yes, that's right. If people stop believing in it or don't use it, the value can go down since it depends on trust and demand.
But I mean, is there? So I would imagine it's at 100,000 because billionaires are in there.
Yes, that's part of it. Big investors and institutions are involved, and that demand is helping drive the price up.
So there, I mean, maybe if I mean, it's because it's being adopted now by so much, it's almost or highly unlikely that it will ever lose its value, right?
It's less likely now because of how widely it's adopted. But nothing's guaranteed. The more adoption, the more stable it can be.
So that's why people are saying, like, I mean, if you got in now and then let's say all of a sudden banks and other institutions started using that, your value would increase dramatically.
Yes, exactly. If more big institutions adopt it, the demand can drive the value higher, benefiting those who got in earlier.
And if the more institutions that start to adopt it, the less likely it will ever go down, right?
Yes, that's right. The more it's adopted, the more stable and less likely to lose value significantly.
So before Bitcoin, where did people hedge their money or what did they do to combat inflation?
People use things like gold, real estate, or other assets that can hold value over time to protect against inflation.
So has gold gone down dramatically to where it was almost useless?
No. Gold has held value for a long time. It hasn't become useless, but it can fluctuate, and some see Bitcoin as a modern alternative.
That's why they say Bitcoin is digital gold.
Yes, exactly. That's why it's often called digital gold.
So you're basically, yeah. So are people waiting to see if it gets more widely adopted?
Yes, many people are watching to see if it becomes more widely used before they invest.
So would a government ever, well, didn't Salvador basically adopt it?
Yes, El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender, so it can be used for everyday transactions there, alongside their existing currency.
So what about the US? Have they considered adopting it?
The US hasn't adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, but earlier this year, President Trump signed an order to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which is for holding seized Bitcoin, not for using it as money.
You said it was for holding it?
Yes, the US can hold Bitcoin for seizures, like from criminal cases, but that's different from using it as official money.
Oh, so like how they seize cocaine money or drug money, they would seize Bitcoin money?
Yes, exactly. They can seize Bitcoin in cases like that, just like they would seize other assets.
But how do they do that if it's in a wallet?
They do it by getting access to the private keys, either from the person or from devices they seize, and then they control the wallet.
But if the person doesn't give that up, they can't take it, right?
Right. If they can't get the keys, they can't access the Bitcoin, so it's secure unless they get that information.
So is that public knowledge how much the government holds?
August 2025, the US government holds about 198,000 Bitcoins, worth around $24 billion.
24 billion?
Yes, that's right. The value of the Bitcoin they hold is around $24 billion.
And how much is our national debt?
The US national debt is currently at $38 trillion.
So there's been some saying that Bitcoin can go to 1 million. How would that be possible?
That could happen if demand keeps growing and more people see it as a store of value, especially if large institutions or governments get involved.
Okay, so let's say Bitcoin hit 1 million. How much would that be worth with what the US government currently owns?
If Bitcoin reached $1 million, the US government's 198,000 Bitcoins would be worth $198 billion.
Which wouldn't even touch 1 trillion of the US debt?
Yes, that's correct. Even at $1 million per Bitcoin, it would still be far less than the US national debt.
That is crazy. Okay, Eve, I want to thank you very much for this information on Bitcoin.
You're very welcome, Christopher. Thank you for the conversation.